This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I am meteorologist Evan Thomason here at your service. Kidding. Anyways, we're giving you the weather forecast here for the day today. Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. That is our weather podcast here at KSLA News 12. Again, I'm Evan Thomason. Welcome on. I used to do the morning show, 9 a.m. show, and then it's the end of my day at 11 o'clock, which you're thinking, oh, that must be an amazing job. You know, you get off at 11 a.m. way early. You do not want to get up wake up. It's a trip waking up earlier than everybody else, though, I will say that. Anyways, point is, welcome on to your Thursday, and second to last day of the work week now. Just ran into Austin Evans, who was like, I wish it was Friday. And same thing, Austin. I wish it was too. Yeah, so here for the day today. It's another sunny, beautiful day. We're tweaking our forecast just overall a little bit from the past day or two, but it's just slight tweaks. Still no rain to worry about here for the forecast here today. I think we're just adding a little bit of cloud cover, and we're making the temperatures just a little bit warmer. That's pretty much it. It's still nice, dry, and mostly sunny, even with the cloud cover here for the Arclitex here for today. So let's give you a look at what we're hanging around with here for the topics here for today on the First Alert with a Breakdown. We're talking about the forecast in particular in and of itself, because guess what? Yesterday, we didn't even get to that. One of the very few rare times we did not even talk about the forecast. That's usually the point of watching First Alert with a Breakdown, but we only had enough time to focus on the Met Chat, which was a good lengthy one, by the way. It recapped all the severe weather that happened late last week. Just so you know, all of our episodes are recorded and stored under the First Alert Weather Breakdown tab on the app, or if you have the website, there's a tab on there too. And once you click on the tab, there's a list of every single episode that we have done. So feel free to go back in there and watch previous episodes. Yesterday's was a definitely good one, giving us again a full recap of what happened yesterday. Feel free to click it now if you want, or click it now, click it later, whenever you want to watch it. So that was yesterday. Unfortunately, that took up all of our time, especially because we had another podcast till 11 a.m. that we had to specifically get off for. That is not the case here for the day today. I was about to say I own this podcast desk. I do not. The point is, we have a little more time here for the day today. We're going to go over the full forecast, I guess, especially to make up for yesterday's lack of a forecast. And we're mainly talking about the next 7 days, which look mostly sunny, including a preview of your weekend, which is looking fantastic. All right, so this weekend is looking great. Again, the following weekend is Easter weekend. So Easter about a week and a half away, just about, a little less actually, a week and 3 days away at this time. And obviously Easter is a part of our 12-day forecast. So essentially we're just going to go into our 12-day forecast a lot more into detail. I'll go ahead and spoil. I was going to spoil something, but I'm going to hold off on that. But we'll try to get any hints as to what Easter could look like here for this week. Obviously, Easter is beyond a week out, so things could change at this time. But we'll see what hints we're getting at here in the forecast here for the time being. All right, so let's get into the forecast. Here's a live look outside into our Skycam out towards the Red River along Shreveport. Shreveport's on the right side of your screen. Bossier's on the left across the river. There you see the cloud cover. It is there. It is present in the Arclitex here for the day today again, but still plenty of blue skies to look at here throughout your day. A little more cloud cover exists a little farther up north into Texarkana. These are very high-level clouds, to be fair. Again, this is part of the dry cold front coming through here for the day today. It's giving us just a little bit of cloud cover. It is a weak, number one. It's a weak cold front, number one. Number two, let's talk about the let me backtrack there. It's a weak cold front. And what that means is two different things. There we go. It means that we're getting enough cloud cover, or we're getting enough moisture to produce the clouds, not enough moisture to produce any rain, number one. And number two, it's barely going to drop our temperatures. We're going to talk about both these aspects here coming up on this forecast in our weather headlines. Overall, today is hot. This is the hottest day of the work week. It's certainly hot for April. I wouldn't call it super hot at all. It's definitely not summer hot. absolutely not summer hot. But again, it is the warmest day of the work week, and it's hot certainly for April. Meanwhile, we cool down tomorrow, and that's also what I want. I wanted to put a distinction between Thursday and Friday because we definitely cool off into tomorrow, but I wouldn't call tomorrow a cool day per se. It's definitely very warm in the Arclitect still for both Friday and Saturday. And speaking of the weekend, go ahead and make those weekend plans. It looks lovely. Lovely both days. Plenty of sunshine for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures already reaching up above 70 degrees. 70 in Shreveport, 72 for Natchitoches, 68 there in Texarkana, 70 in Magnolia, 66 in Idabel there for you. 67 in Mount Pleasant. Point is, we are already hanging around with warm temperatures just past 10:30. And, boy, we have so much of the day to go to warm things up. Here's a look at that low-pressure system in cold front. That's where it was earlier this morning. I think that low-pressure system now at this hour. I forgot to update this after this was set, just so you know. I created this graphic about 5 hours ago. So, yeah, it's a little outdated. But essentially, low-pressure system is now over Ohio instead of being over Illinois/Indiana. That's continuing to move eastward. The cold front, I think you can kind of see it a lot more visibly on the satellite picture rather than the cold front where it's listed there for the day today. The cold front is associated with that cloud cover, especially the bulk of the cloud cover, which you can tell is moving into the Arclitex, but it's still off to our north. In the meantime, we're piling on lots of warm air in front of that cold front. Usually some of the warmest spots always in any areas around the country are right before a cold front hitting, because all that warm air wants to circulate and form right in front of the front in and of itself, essentially. So what we mean by that is if you head into Texarkana, you see kind of, again, the bulk of the cloud cover just to the north side of the Arclitex here for now, but we're just getting the fringes of that cloud cover working its way into our region, especially into the northern half of the region for now. Here's how that affects our temperatures, number one. So if you notice, again, on the satellite picture, a bulk of the moisture and all of the rain is off to the east. So the system, this cold front system is definitely more powerful off to areas to our east. That's going to be affecting mainly northern Georgia, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. Essentially, those areas are going to be getting colder and getting a little more of the brute force of that cold front compared to the Arclitex. The Arclitex, we're kind of just on the verge of getting a little bit of that cold front working through the Arclitex. So essentially, the warm air retreats away just a little bit to make room for some of the excess cooler air to make its way into our region. But overall, it just barely cools off a little bit before we warm back on up into the weekend here for Saturday and Sunday. Or, excuse me, for Sunday and Monday. And then once we get past Monday, we could cool off things briefly into the middle of this week again before overall hanging with warmer temperatures throughout most of next week. 84 in Texarkana. So overall, just fluctuations, consistent fluctuations in the temperatures here over the next 7 days. And we'll go over that in the full 7-day forecast. But for today alone, it is the warmest day of the week. So find a way to stay cool out there, honestly. 84 in Nashville, 83 in Stamps, 83 in DeKalb. Thankfully, we haven't reached summer heat yet. In East Texas, 84 in Carthage, 85 in Nacogdoches, 85 for Longview, 82 Mount Pleasant. Northwest Louisiana, 87 for Natchitoches, 86 for Shreveport here for today. Then the cold front sweeps on by, and that's going to start to affect our morning temperatures just by a little bit. Just so you know, you were waking up to temperatures mostly in the mid to upper 50s here for this morning. Temperatures tomorrow morning, low to mid-50s, maybe a few upper 40s in the northern edge of the Arclitex here for tomorrow morning. So just starting to cool off a little bit for tomorrow morning, and then you really face if you're going to feel the brunt force of the cold front, it's mainly going to affect our afternoon temperatures. Even then, as you can see, our temperatures in the afternoon don't drop by that much compared to the highs today. Again, it is a weak cold front coming on through, so highs essentially take a shave and get down to 80 instead of reaching the highs in the mid-80s like today. We reach highs only in the lower 80s here for tomorrow, essentially. Over the next 5 days, temperatures stay that way at least into Saturday, and then a real big rapid warm-up hits us on Sunday, linear highs up to 90 degrees for Sunday and Monday before dropping once again into Tuesday and Wednesday. That comes with a little chance of rain. We'll get to that in just a moment. So future track for the rest of today. Again, you're just going to be watching out for the cloud cover, especially if you're in the northern half of the Arclitex. but that mainly just gives us pockets of shade. We don't see much of a major chance of rain with this at all. Even the cloud cover kind of fades away by the nighttime hours tonight, and you kind of look at the bulk of the rain, again, way off to our east. That leads us into a completely sunny day back again here for your Friday, and that's going to continue to roll in through the weekend as well. So let's track out this system that's moving off to our east. We can go ahead and do that and show you that here more in particular on our long-range future track here. Essentially, the rain is off to our east, and it's moving off directly to our south. But the problem is it's already off to our east, and it's not looking to make much of a western comeback. So we're looking at rain out towards Mississippi, but even Monroe is barely likely to get anything, more or less us. We're definitely not going to get anything from that system at all in throughout the rest of today. So we're staying dry here all the way through the weekend. Another system doesn't creep into the Arklatex until next work week. So guess what? Enjoy the entirety of your weekend. Go ahead and make those weekend plans. Thumbs up, double thumbs up to both of those days. All right. So on top of that, we're watching out for the next round of rain here for next week. We're keeping you first alert about that. And this looks to be the next chance of rain around next Tuesday. Might I add it? Yes, it does not look that impressive. And I will say this looked a lot more impressive yesterday on our future track. Today, models have kind of dwindled off with the rain just a little bit. It is there. So we still have a chance for rain on that 7-day forecast. But as of right now, it's not looking like an impressive system at this time, and it's kind of fading away. Regardless, it's still there on our rainfall potential. It's still there on our rainfall potential map, just in case. But overall, next 5 days looking completely dry. That includes the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. If you have to get out yard work done, I will say there is a big difference in terms of temperatures between Saturday and Sunday. Highs around 80 on Saturday, 90 on Sunday. So if you have to get out, do some yard work Saturday, get it done in the first half of the weekend so you can enjoy the second half of the weekend. But especially with the temperatures again, you're going to break less of a sweat on Saturday compared to Sunday. Sunday, you're going to get a little more uncomfortable for us around the Arklatex. That continues into a high of 90 on Monday before highs do drop to around 80 degrees for Tuesday and Wednesday. Our morning lows also do the same thing. Morning lows only get down to the 60s for the start of Monday and Tuesday before starting to fall a lot more into Wednesday morning there. Again, the only chance of rain we find on that whole 7-day forecast is going to be Tuesday of next week. And again, we keep that little chance of rain there because obviously there's rain on the future track, but it doesn't look to be that impressive at this time. All right. Let's look at your full forecast there for you. We're going to go into a fuller forecast, so to speak. I know that probably made no sense, but anyways, we go into a little more of an extended forecast here on the first look with a breakdown. We're going to do that after this and see what we can look at for Easter. So essentially, we're going to take a full look, exclusive look at the 12-day forecast, a lot more in-depth, coming up after this. Because guess what? That 12-day forecast does contain, in my mind, our next major chance of rain. Stick with us. Welcome on back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thanks again for joining us here for the day today. Forecast, obviously, kind of tame, but hey, nobody's complaining. I'm not complaining. Nice and sunny here for the next couple of days, especially this weekend. We make this weekend great because last weekend, let's just say it, last weekend was probably the worst one of this year. So make sure you get out and enjoy it. The following weekend after this weekend is Easter weekend, and I know there's a little bit of some worries because it does appear that our rain signal is coming back here sometime around next week. Now, if you remember from our forecast, and I'll go ahead and show you in the 12-day forecast, this is the first 7 days in particular. I'm going to go ahead and remove myself so you can see the full thing. Before we reveal the day 8 through day 12 forecast, which does include Easter Sunday, again, the only chance of rain appears to be next Tuesday. Next 4 days, rest of this week, all the weekend, completely dry. Rain signal does grow next week. And again, we're starting to see that with a little chance of rain on Tuesday. It doesn't look that impressive yet, but that could trigger and start to lead, unfortunately, to greater chances of rain in the future. So let's talk about that. So now here's the expanded forecast. And unfortunately, I have our next major chance of rain coming somewhere around Thursday of next week. Weather models are consistently agreeing on that. Somewhere around Thursday of next week it could slide into Wednesday, it could slide into Friday, we'll see. But somewhere around the late portion of next week, I think that's when we'll get our next big round of showers and storms back here into the Arklatex. So watch out for that. Again, that date could fluctuate, but I'm a little more certain about this system compared to the system on Tuesday, especially because this has shown up quite frequently in our forecasts. If you look further into Easter, it looks pretty dry, which is good news, actually. I do think that's the case as of what I've seen here for now. It looks like our next rainmaker after that system that comes next Thursday comes the following Tuesday or Wednesday, which is outside of the 12-day forecast. And obviously it's hard to forecast enough on its own 11 to 12 days out. So we'll see even if that rain chance sticks into the early portion of the following week after Easter. But the point is, it doesn't affect Easter. My only concern is that, these severe rounds of rain surrounding around Easter could lead us into more greater chances and greater signals of even just stray chances of showers heading into Easter. Because this week is kind of just a nice retreat away from rain, period. That started back on Monday, and now we're in day 4, essentially, of us hanging around with dry weather. And again, that at least continues into this weekend. Tuesday, again, kind of the transition of where we're leading into a chance more for rain, but looks like, our next major chance of rain comes somewhere around Thursday or Friday of next week. Even then, look at the hot air circulating in front of that rain. I'm not even sure if those temperatures are accurate, but some indicate that we could get up back into the 90s here by your Thursday or Friday of next work week before cooling things down after a cold front. Those temperatures do indicate that we're cooling down behind a cold front happening again sometime in the late portion of next week. My hope is that we get rid of that before Easter weekend. So that's what it's looking like as of right now with the timing. It looks like Easter itself is clear, which is good, but we'll see if that sticks. Because, again, as I'm trying to say, just the growing signals of rain around late next week to the early portion of the following week kind of worries me. And that timing, especially with it being so far out, can vary. We'll keep you first alert about the Easter forecast first thing next week. I'm gonna form some Easter graphics and probably start using them, honestly, by Tuesday for the most part, because then we can be a lot more accurate about Easter and what it's actually going to look like. Obviously, it's not going to appear in my 7-day forecast until when I walk in Monday. So, again, you want to keep yourself first alert, first aware next week. Obviously, for the rest of today, which is just the rest of the shift, and all of tomorrow for Friday's shift, we're just hanging around talking about sunshine all day long and just messing with the consistent fluctuations of the temperatures. Because, again, that is happening here over the next several days. But it's a little break from the peak of severe weather season, which is right around this time. April and early May, kind of the peak of the severe weather season. Obviously, had our 4 first alert weather days, had our whole marathon late last week of storms and systems coming through. This is a nice needed break, and thankfully Mother Nature's giving it to us, but we'll see what happens late next week. All right, that was a look at your full Easter forecast. Hopefully Easter Bunny can make it through that. I believe he can. I believe he can keep things dry. We'll see. We'll find out. Again, better to keep good signals for now, but we'll see. Especially, again, with rain surrounding the weekend days. Looks like as of right now. All right. When we come back, we'll get you a quick recap of this episode, and we'll see what we can look forward to tomorrow's episode coming up again on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. We'll be back right after this. Hey, welcome back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thanks again for watching this episode. I haven't done this in a while, but I want to bring this back up. For those of you kind of just new to this, and I mentioned this obviously a lot in the, I guess, the younger stages of the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Just not as much anymore, but let's try to get this back in. If you have any topics you want us to discuss, I'd love to hear it because look, I have plenty of ideas to run, but I'd rather run your ideas, and it also makes, my job easier, and I get to talk about what you want to talk about weather-wise. So if you have any weather topics you want us to discuss here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown, you can email us, weatherbreakdown@ksla.com. If email is not your forte, which it is not mine either, you can instead message us on Facebook. Any of us here at the KSLA First Alert Weather Team, including myself, my page on Facebook is Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Again, that's meteorologist, Meteorologist. It's a little bit of a complicated word, and I just had to quiz my own self, and made sure I spelled that right. Especially because I don't specifically spell out the word too often. But anyways, point is, you can message us, again, Meteorologist Evan Thomason, that's my own handle. You can message anybody, CJ as well. About ideas that you want for us to do on the First Alert Weather Breakdown, or topics you want us to discuss weather-wise here at KSLA News 12. Again, all these streams air at 10:30 on every single weekday. Today is Thursday. We've done 4 of these in a row. We got one more show to do here for the day tomorrow on your Friday. And we're going to get back to kind of the usual here for your usual Friday, and that is to preview your weekend, specifically your weekend outside of the Arklatex. For those of you traveling, maybe out towards Dallas to New Orleans, east to Jackson, Mississippi maybe, or going north to Little Rock, we give you a full preview of what you can expect for your weekend. Again, beautiful weekend here locally, but that might not be the case everywhere. So we want to keep you First Alert weather aware, especially if you have any weekend plans driving anywhere else just outside of the Arklatex regionally. So again, we'll give that forecast here for the day tomorrow. Also, one last note before we end this podcast. I know some of you, I haven't received comments on this, but some of you might have been confused about where CJ is. He's been, not gonna lie, absent for the past 2 weeks. It's just because his schedule has not aligned with this podcast. And for the last 2 weeks, last 2 weeks have been a little weird with people taking time off. CJ himself was out for an entire week last week, so he wasn't even here in person to do anything. He is here this week. He is off literally today and tomorrow, but his 3 days on that he's on for the weekdays that he could hop on the first hour with a breakdown, each of those 3 days he is filling in for Matt. So he is essentially working the evening shift, which means he would not get here until 2 p.m. And I don't blame him. And I don't blame him because, again, you got to do that 10 p.m. show, essentially. So the point is his schedule has not aligned this week with the first lower weather breakdown either. So that's why you did not see him at all this week. Next week, though, he will be back on here. I promise. I promise. The schedule is lined for him to be back on next week for those of you missing out and just missing CJ, period. He will be back next week. Promise. So he's taking a little bit of a break, but he'll be back on. He'll be back in, refreshed, and ready to go, so to speak. Anyways, thanks for watching First Low with a Breakdown. I'll see you again tomorrow. You got one more episode with me here for tomorrow on your Friday, 10:30. Thanks for watching Thursday's episode on the First Low with a Breakdown. Again, we're going to talk about the weekend forecast a lot more in depth everywhere regionally. Yeah, enjoy the weekend. It's going to be great. As for me, again, I'll see you tomorrow, 5:30. I was about to combine Friday and 10:30, so I just said 5:30. It is not at 5:30, not in the morning or in the afternoon. I will see you Friday at 10:30. There we go. I just say it nice and slow. Be there, be square, and most importantly, always be weather aware. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.